I was asked about the best job choice for today's economy. That was something like the way it was phrased. And I can't answer it on those terms. I can't answer that question on those terms because while I understand that all of us live in an economic world where we want to feed ourselves and feed our families and have a roof over our heads and so forth. And maybe we want other kinds of prosperity in our lives. Um, uh, I don't want to be someone who encourages you to make decisions that are strictly economic based. And I will say for myself that I haven't made decisions that are strictly economic based, and I feel happier for having done so. I know that when I was graduating high school, my mother did not want me to go to college because of the costs that it would incur. And her biggest concern was that as quickly as I could, that I become someone who had access to my own insurance. And that continued to be a concern throughout my time in college, but she would have preferred actually that I join the military straight out of high school in some form or another. All of her brothers and father, and my father and his brothers and my grandfather, all the men in my family had served in the Army or the Navy. And that wasn't true for my generation. The men in my family of my generation are just me and my brother, and then I have two nephews as well, and none of us have served in any sort of armed services. But her reason for that was economic. Was let's get you to a good job security that has benefits and insurance as quickly as possible. And I just knew that I wanted to read books and be in an environment that let me read books. And then when I couldn't read books as a college student anymore, I was looking for jobs that allowed for intellectual stimulation or creative stimulation. Um, if getting my PhD hadn't worked out, I might have looked for a job in a library, or I don't know what else, but I think it would be surrounded by books in some way or another. Now, that's not to say that that's exactly what all of you should do, but I will say that my advice from my experience, and that's just one narrow, small set of experience, is to focus on what really makes you happy, and then adjust your economy to that. So if what makes you happy is serving your community as maybe a nonprofit leader, or a nonprofit staff member, those jobs might be 25,000, 30,000, 40,000 dollar kinds of salaries, and that might sound like that's a tough salary to live off of. It's also a very common salary to live off of, and so you have to kind of reconcile those facts, and look for ways of living off of that salary and allowing it to feel like prosperity, which goes back to that idea of getting your money straight, living below your means, and so forth. So if your question is what job should I take out of college to make the most money, I'm the last person to ask. I have no idea. But if your question is how should I make a choice about where to go find a job, I would say it's about where your passions really are. And that sounds hokey. In some ways, I feel like somebody who is cynical about ideas like passion. But when it comes to a job, I can't recommend it enough. It's why I work so late at night for my job at Temple so often, because I am passionate about what I do, and it's rewarding to me. Not because it's the job that everyone should do, but because it's the job that I'm passionate about. So you go find the job that you're passionate about, and then adjust your economy to that as opposed to the other way around. All right, thanks.